I played Destiny 2 at 3 a.m. and it was a mistake! If you didn't know, I'm playing through Destiny 2's campaigns, deleting my loot every time I die, and have successfully made my way to Lightfall's penultimate mission, Headlong. After the death of Rohan, we need to take our strand training to the next level. Nimbus hits us with some of the worst dialogue in the series.
Systems are late.
Systems are lit. No, dude. But at least the short training montage sequence is neat. I'm not gonna waste your time, as the beginning of the mission just requires me to go through and kill a bunch of Vex while solving some simple puzzles. The real trouble only arrives once we enter the Vex network and have to complete Osiris's training program. Our first pain point is this strand meditation, as it forces us off our Void Hunter subclass and onto the Strand Hunter subclass. So in a challenge all about surviving, I lose Devour and Invisibility, and that's pretty bad for my survivability. The initial section of Osiris' training program is pretty freelo, as it's mainly to teach you and let you get the hang of the grapple mechanic. The main boss room is where things start to change though, as there are multiple elements at play. First off, I'm going to go ahead and deal with some of the ads here. We are strand empowered, but it's not a massive strand empowerment. It's a pretty weak one. As you can see by how slow our melee was regenerating, a little bit of weird grapple melee shenanigans there, but I go into my super because I see my health get popped down, and I am noticing that I'm actually taking damage from hobgoblins which have spawned on top of me. And immediately I'm like, okay, those are gonna be my pain points. So take care of the hobgoblins up top, take care of the goblin down here, and I can take care of the rest of the hobgoblins. Now there's just a wyvern for me to deal with. There is also, of course, the giant rotating square of death. There is also, of course, the giant red rotating square of death in the middle of the room that constantly forces us to be moving around. Getting near it will, force us to take damage, and while it's not technically an instant death, due to our lack of resistance and the take damage it outputs, it's pretty much game over. The Wyvern being a mini-boss that spawns in after you take care of the Minotaurs in order to spawn the boss is a pretty troll move, and it's pretty troll that the boss will also just, teleport onto you. Of course, now I know that the boss is teleporting to each of the corners and the portals there, but initially doing this again for the first time blind in quite some time, I wasn't completely aware of the boss rotation, and I end up getting caught by the Wyvern and die. So that was a pretty bad death. There was definitely a just lack of knowledge of the encounter, definitely a bit of unfamiliarity with the Strand Hunter kit, which is a problem, especially because once you acquire the Strand subclass, you can't actually go into your menu and look at any of your aspects or whatever. So I don't have the Strand Hunter kit memorized off the top of my head. So it's like sure, I know what the abilities do, but it'd be nice at least, be able to take a look at what aspects I've been given in the campaign. But of course, after that, I go ahead and delete all my loot, which by all my loot, I mean all loot I had equipped, which is pretty annoying. Okay, second time in the boss room, I am at least a little bit more aware of the mechanics that I have to face. So the Hobgoblin is definitely an immediate priority. And unfortunately, one of the worst parts about the Strand kit is the fact that it replaces your grenade, your base grenade, with a grapple grenade. Technically, this doesn't suck, but in a challenge like this, it's really, really unfortunate because my resilience is nowhere near max, and thus grappling towards the enemies, which you have to do in order to use the melee, is pretty brutal. Luckily, I'm able to take advantage of this Nezaric's Whisper, which is a glaive, and use a shield to allow me to deal some damage. I also forgot that, melees with glaives are a bit weird sometimes, so I have to be a bit careful with that. That was a complete failure right there. I also decided to actually focus on the Wyvern completely this time. I have no idea why I was just trolling and not doing anything about it the first time around. I think the problem was the fact that the boss spawn, in which that causes the ads to spawn in, and that with the Wyvern is really annoying. But here I'm just going to go ahead and drop a Tangle in order to sever the boss thanks to the artifact, and I'm just going to use my super to deal a bit of damage to the boss. However, I'm realizing that it's probably going to be a multi-phase adventure anyway, so I failed to grapple out of the situation, but I go ahead and use the rest of my super to clear the ads anyways. These fanatics are also especially annoying because they're chasing you and you're constantly forced to move because of the giant red barrier. It's like, bruh. And this is a rather rare sight. I actually remember the fact that, I have an air ability and can suspend targets when I use my class ability when I dive. Unfortunately, I still end up getting absolutely domed by an absolute miss by the threaded spike, and then I just took a bunch of damage. Like, I literally just got absolutely bursted down by all of it. I got killed by the goblin halfway across the map. Like, are you serious? Come on. Okay, so here I'm diving, boom, and then here I'm rotating. Oh, did my spike bounced off of the cube next to this most far left exploder. It bounced off of that, and it bounced off of the other cube, and then it just bounced back onto me instead of going in targeting any of the other vets. Hello? All right, well, that death was especially painful, mainly because I lost a glaive, which is an incredibly important survival tool. I'm also now forced to use one of my exotic helmets because I don't have another helmet slot. And I'm also now forced to consider the fact that, wait, I don't have enough armor to use another exotic, and I can't use two exotics in the same time, so that's a bit of a conundrum. I'm also forced down to a white piece of chest gear, so it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Graviton Forfeit also has negative synergy with the rest of our kit because we're forced onto Strand. So, you know, with 49 resilience, it's not looking too good. All right, third. And at least for the ads on the ground, the grapple melee is definitely my move of choice. After going in grapple melee, I end up getting a little bit caught on the Minotaur, but I do manage to avoid most of the damage, but I end up getting shocked from the barrier. So in my opinion, I'm not touching the red barrier at all, but according to the game, I'm close enough. And thus I take in an immense amount of shock damage, which allows the Minotaur to kill me. Pretty cringe. Like the fact that I didn't even get to the boss this time around because I was just apparently close enough to the not marked marker of the barrier is really cringe because I lost a pretty good bow, I lost a really good glaive, lost a really good heavy, lost an exotic helmet. It's bad, it's doomed. All right, fourth time around, I'm at least able to take care of the Minotaur there, take care of the Wyvern, just gets absolutely killed in one shot. I do have quite a bit more time, a lot more time actually, on my super than I realized, and I definitely could have done a decent amount of damage to the boss, but I decided to stay alive, but apparently I just get domed immediately by a fanatic explosion, so rip. And just like that, our Assassin's Coil, which never got used, is just over. Because of this, I'm now forced down to my last piece of exotic armor and onto the Stasis subclass, and that's where I realized that, oh, I have no aspects or fragments. So I returned to Europa, and initially the Exo Stranger gave us a quest, so I'm like, oh, there's no way I have to actually unlock the aspects, but I can just buy them for Glimmer, so too easy. I mean, actually, maybe unironically too easy. Like, sure, it's cool, I can just get everything for Glimmer, but maybe it's a little bit too easy, but sure. This is where I waste a bunch of time just reading through the aspects and fragments, simply so I have a good idea of what they do for future situations. Unfortunately, the exotic and the subclass is completely useless to us for this encounter. It's also here with my loadout with my limited weapon choice that I decided to play into a more far-range playstyle, mainly because I'm trying to tether myself to always be rotating around with the barrier and to always counter myself opposite of wherever the hobgoblins are. That way I have maximum, distance, and I can stay the safest and be aware of the enemy spawns. And even though I will occasionally use the grapple to deal damage with the ads, I primarily use it as a means of escaping. The Wyvern spawn does force me early into my super here, but that's fine because I can just take care of the ads on the ground, and now I do have a linear witch hole clip, so I can still do some big damage. At this point, the biggest threat to me are actually the fanatics, simply because of how silent they are and that they're able to sneak up onto me and they push me constantly, so I am forced to actually, engage with them. And their explosion radius is much larger than it should be, and because of my low resistance, they deal so much damage. So honestly, really, the final boss are these fanatics. Like, first of all, terrible grapple melee, and realizing my precarious situation, I am like, okay, wait, I have just to force myself into super. The boss is also cringe, and it drops a pool of creep that damages you over time. If you stand in it, it's like, bro, come on, I can't even get into melee range to damage you, bro. So my Chill Clip linear is putting in massive damage here. Unfortunately, I encounter another case of somehow I'm too close to the barrier. Let's look at this. So here I am facing the barrier. I walk. The barrier still clearly in front of me. The outlines, a massive, like, what, at least 3 feet away. I turn around because I'm like, oh, I'm not even close. And then I get shocked. I'm looking at the barrier. Let's go in slow motion for this and everything, okay? I'm looking at the barrier. I took no damage. Taking no damage. I turn around. The barrier is now even further away from me, although technically I did move a little bit closer to the center, but realistically, that shouldn't matter at all. But then I get applied with shock from the barrier, and then I take a bunch of damage, like, bro. And while I technically don't die to the shock damage, I basically indirectly die to it because of the Ionian. That's a pretty annoying death because it does mean I am now forced on the fully white gear. Oh man, oh boy. Simply due to this now being my 5th time I'm having to complete this basically in a row, I'm now a lot more used to how the section for this goes, so I'm able to arrive at the boss room in a record time. This is a pretty standard run. Here I'm just going to go and save the Hobgoblin. And then I'm gonna grapple into the group of ads, but I get absolutely just bursted by the wyvern. Like, it was not even close. Like I have to erase that. Let's replay that. Here I am. This is where I use my grapple. I grapple into the goblins. I'm purposely trying to stay as far away from the wyvern as possible, and I'm leaning myself towards the cover as I'm, planning to move towards the left immediately after this. So here I'm grappling in. I go ahead and realize that my melee up, and I'm close enough to a bunch of the ads, so I can just go ahead and hit my melee. It's an AoE. Boom. The goblins explode. I'm already looking to my left. I'm already, planning, I already planned my next move, and I'm already moving towards it so much so that I'm dodging, trying to get under cover, and the wyvern just absolutely destroys me. Like, this is an absurd amount of damage, and it's because of that just instant damage output that I realized that, oh, my grapple melee is now a lot worse than it used to be, simply due to the fact that my resilience is 34. Right, attempt number 6 is when I finally ran out of any unique legendary drops. So here I'm going to go ahead and just pull out my green sword, and I was not even close. It was bad. That was terrible. That was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in all of Destiny. So I can confirm the Nasreddin with no perks is not good, not very good. Like, if this were any other heavy, it could have been useful. But I think a sword and then doing like no damage is just so sad. So we're basically now out of a heavy weapon. Love to see it. I am also almost completely out of special weapons, not just energy weapons. I'm completely out of kinetic weapons entirely though. So I'm forced onto the OG Kavasta. I start the encounter pretty standard, starting grapple melee, pull that, use a tangle, get some woven mill going on. Unfortunately, due to my lack of weaponry, me being on a sword means I can't use any heavy weapon to kill the hobgoblins, and the grenade launcher, while it is a grenade launcher, I think this specific role had disorientating on it, so I was primarily using it for that rather than damage, which meant that the hobgoblins were not easy to take care of outside of me either using one of my abilities, specifically the throated spike, or trying to do something fancy like grapple up to them. But it's hard enough trying to get up there when trying to deal with the rest of the ads on here, and so they're just so painfully annoying. Like, I can only take care of them with the Kavasa. The wyvern just absolutely deletes me. Alright, round 8, I do have an early tangle. Unfortunately, even though the tangle is able to go up and damage the hobgoblin, due to the timing of the cooldown, I don't get a second tangle to spawn up, but I do actually decide to lean into the idea of grappling up to the hobgoblins up top. And as I grapple up top, I'm like, wait, this is actually kind of a safe space, except for, the rotating barrier. That was a complete failure of, I believe, dive. I have no idea what that was. But I'm like, oh, wait, I can actually stay up here and use a bit of the platform as cover. I can also take care of the hobgoblins. Much easier thanks to me being able to use my grapple melee on them. Unfortunately, that does put me in one location, and that does mean all of the AoE from the ads does add up very, very easily when you have no resistance. And thus, I'm forced out of position constantly, especially thanks to the moving red barrier in the middle of the room. So somehow, this instance, even though I developed the new high ground tech, I am forced to use probably my earliest super ever. Another big problem is the fact that my only real weapon is Kavasov, especially at range. Like, I have a sword, and right now my current energy is a fusion. Like, I'm not using fusion at this range. At least this does give me the chance to, really get a hand of grapple. Unfortunately, this is one of those instances where everything bad is stacking up towards me. The boss is directly in this corner, the red wall is pushing in towards me, but the high up platforms do have a massive sense of safety. Unfortunately, I somehow messed up my jumps there, and I realized that I just had really bad movement, mainly because I wasn't completely aware of the red barrier being that pushed in on me, and unfortunately, that takes me out. But I've at least discovered the tech of going onto the higher platforms. From here on out, the run doesn't change too much, mainly because there's not really any ways for me to change the run, because I'm limited in my weapons. I don't really have that many, and I literally can't change any of my armor slots, and I can't change any of my aspects or fragments, so we're completely reliant on the Strand kit. Because of this, I'll spare you the time, and I'll just show you the death compilation. Boom. There's just a hole there? Like, are we serious? What possible reason? Why did designers put a hole there just to troll me, specifically? Like, are we serious? Like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm literally having to use like 100% of my brain power to figure out these grapple angles. Like, come on. Death that out. Oh! Wow, the fanatic detonations are that powerful. They'll just kill me like that. Dude, look at the threaded spike doing. So what was that? The threaded spike bounced off the floor into nothing? Come on. Yeah, I mean, this video is probably gonna have to be something titled like, I played Destiny 3 at Destiny 3. I played Destiny 3. Oh, dude, that's too much clickbait. I played Destiny 3. Yo. I played Destiny at 3 a.m. And I lost everything.
Good. This flexibility is unmatched. Now, show your fighting
Bruh,
prowess.
the timing? Gonna get the reload. Strong grapple. Give me the hobgoblin, take care of that. Melee into that. Special ammo pickup. Dude, these hobgoblins are fucked. Sever. Yeah, I mean, that void overshield is just screwing over this sniper, but it felt really weak. Frenzy, and it's a void weapon, so any of the void shields will be destroyed a bit easier. This scout rifle sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie, the sound effect for those bullets were so crisp. It's doomed. Tangle, finish here, dodge here, do that. Fuck. Man, the ads just get insane. No special weapon just makes killing the orange bars strictly ability only. Get up here, here it's hobgoblin or not, just get pranked. Dive down, do that. Take out the sword. The one instance it's gonna be okay. Oh my god, the fucking excessive radial area is so cringe. Look, why? How, like, I don't understand the shock radius. I don't understand the shock. I was like, come on, are you serious? I'm nowhere near. Pick up the tangle.
Embrace where the current takes you.
Tangle here. Oh. Oh, wait, you don't even die if you fall here? That's crazy, actually. I literally lost my entire life savings. And that's how long it took me to figure that out. Dude, I'm gonna take shock damage and die? Come on. Oh my god, dude. I literally don't understand the boundaries of the shock barrier. They make no sense. It's literally just like fake news. Like, yo, walk off. Man, these hobgoblins, the aimbot on these hobgoblins is crazy. Come up here, kills hobgoblin, pick up the tangle, drop down here, shatter dive, not, well, strand dive. That's not really a catchy name. Hobgoblin dead. Dude, I don't understand. I don't understand how that ended up that terribly for me. Like, really? Finish that, scrap that. Oh my god, the radius is so small. Dude, the wyvern damage is way too much. Like, come on, that's so cringe. Oh, I don't know why I decided to int directly into the enemies. I was like, surely that'd be... I actually... this is trolling. Scout is doing not nearly enough damage, but it being able to break the void shields, I unironically think this will be a lot easier once I can get on the stubborn egg. I have this, get on the edge early. This way I can just throw a tangle down here, grapple up here, melee the hobgoblin up here. Let's get up here, take care of the hobgoblin, dive here, melee that, do one of those, try to dodge all of that garbage, hit one of those. Oh, bro, where did the Minotaur come from? Like, why are they so silent? Like, bro, I'm playing Destiny 2 and not fucking being one of the NPCs in Ghost of Tsushima. Like, come on. Take care of the hobgoblin, grab the tangle, drop down here, toss that. Oh my god, dude, the angles. Take care of some of these fanatics. Every time, my melees are just complete failures after the grapple. Like, what is happening? What the fuck is happening, bro? Why is this encounter so fucking... I mean, well, I know why it's so cringe. Like, I can't believe they gave this boss an anti-melee mechanic. Like, what are we talking about? To end the story? Like, are we serious? That's crazy. Take care of that. Take care of those. Try to take care of that fanatic there. It's just an explosion. Try to kill the hobgoblin. Pop that tangle. Drop the shatter. I'm just gonna call it shatter. Like, bro, that's like, see, that makes sense. Not like that melee combo with the dive makes a lot of sense. Seeing it like that. Do that. Go super. Oh. Melee, grab the tangle, grapple here. Finish. Fuck, Minotaurs and their goddamn melees, bro. Like, chill. What the fuck is happening to my melees? Super here, take care of the Minotaurs. Take care of some of those ads. Take care of these ads spawning here. Take care of these ads here. Take care of this Minotaur. Melee that. Take care of that goblin. Be careful of the shock barrier. Grab the tangle. Toss that. Break the shield here. Dodge here. You know what? It might benefit me to dodge and combine that with the... It's really hard to get my thoughts out while I'm just so locked in. Like, literally, I've not talked at all. Multiple reasons for that, but... I mean, I wasn't really using Demoralize that much, but the weekend was kind of noticeable. And when I was breaking the Void Shield, oh my god, dude. It took me... it took everything. It took everything.